All right, this weekend we have Francis Ngannou taking on Cyril Gane. It is a unification bout between the undisputed heavyweight champion and the interim heavyweight champion. And when that fight is done, we will be left with the baddest man on the planet. Yes, that's right. I hear all you boxing fans, and I know there's Tyson Fury and there's Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk and all these other people. But the boxing heavyweight champion being the baddest man on the planet is a thing of the past. Because right now, the baddest man on the planet, that belongs to the UFC heavyweight champion of the world. Yes, boxing fans, go crazy. Talk shit in the comments if you want, but I'm telling you, the baddest man on the planet is the UFC heavyweight champion of the world. And we'll see who still has that title on Saturday night. And maybe one of the guys that wins on Saturday night will go down in history as one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, which is a perfect segue for me to give you my list of who I believe are the top 5 heavyweights of all time. Now, criteria to get on this list, of course, you had to fight in the UFC. So unfortunately, that eliminates some people. We're talking Fedor Emelianenko primarily, okay? Never fought in the UFC. Also, you had to fight the best possible fighters, opposition, challenges that were available in your era. And of course, no testing positive for steroids, okay? Sorry about that. It's against the rules. It's cheating. If you're pissing hot, you don't get on Mikey B's list, all right? So here we go. Without further ado, let's break it down, the top 5. But before I do, I just want to tell you about rockauto.com. Rockauto.com have been in business for over 20 years, supplying all the car parts that you need at the best possible prices. So if you work on your car, if you know your way around an engine and you need some parts, you want to go to rockauto.com and you are going to find everything that you need at the best possible prices. I don't have a code for you because everything is already so cheap. Check out the website rockauto.com. If you're tinkering around on a car, this is the website you want to go to. No storefront markups. rockauto.com. Check it out. Click the link in the episode description down below, and good luck when you're working on your car, because I don't know shit about a car engine. What I do know about though is heavyweights, and I know about the best heavyweights, and I know about the top 5. So here we go. Number 5, coming in hot, we have a guy. He comes from Brazil. He's very big. He was excellent at jiu-jitsu. He carved his teeth out in Japan, became a bit of a big deal, came out to America to Strikeforce. He submitted Fedor Emelianenko, then came to the UFC and became champion when he choked out Cain Velasquez. Yes, I am talking about Fabroizio Verdum, with a record of 24-9-1, and more known for doing this very irritating face, or whatever it is. I can't do it. I don't want to do it, but still. No, just being silly. Fabroizio Verdum, he had some tremendous fights inside the octagon. He really did. And of course, he beat Cain Velasquez in Mexico City. The story of that fight was Cain Velasquez did come in to Mexico City, which is at high altitude, about 5 days before. So he never acclimatized. Whereas Verdum came in like 2 months before, did most of his camp in Mexico City. So as the fight progressed, Cain got tired, and then Verdum choked him out with the guillotine. But here's why I placed him in my top 5. Of course, he had the submission win over Cain Velasquez. He's beaten the likes of Minotauro Nogueira, Fedor Emelianenko, as I said. His best wins were Minotauro Nogueira, Cain Velasquez, Alistair Overeem, which was a submission over Fedor Emelianenko, and he also knocked out Mark Hunt. So he was a very, very well-rounded threat. He's a big man. He came in good condition, and he is my top 5 heavyweight, my number 5 heavyweight champion of the world. Okay, moving on. Next one on the list is a guy. He was a 3-time Olympic hopeful. Okay, he was a wrestler beforehand. He came to, like a lot of people, came to the UFC, and became champion in the heavyweight division. He also became champion in the light heavyweight division. He then destroyed Tito Ortiz, the long-time reigning champion. And of course, he became a 2-weight division champion. I am, of course, talking about the one, the only, the Randy, the Natural Couture. Gotta stop saying "the" in front of everything. But Randy, the Natural Couture. He is my number 4 heavyweight of all time. As I say, he had 2 weight divisions that he was the master of for quite some time. In the heavyweight division, he had 2 consecutive title defenses, which at that time was a record. He retired with a record of 19-11, which doesn't sound that impressive when you look at it on paper, but some of the people that he beat along the way, it's very, very impressive. Of course, here's why I place him in my top 5. only 3-time heavyweight UFC champion in history. He was also a 2-time light heavyweight champion. And also, he won UFC 13, which was a heavyweight tournament. He won a record of 6 UFC heavyweight title fights. And the notable wins that he had were Maurice Smith, Kevin Randleman, Vitor Belfort, Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz, Mark Coleman, and the last time we saw him become the heavyweight champion of the world when he beat Tim Sylvia. I'm going to surprise you, Tim Sylvia's not on my list, but he beat Tim Sylvia, then he got on the microphone and said, hey, not bad for an old guy, not bad at all. Randy the Natural Couture deserves a lot of respect, and he comes in at my number 4 heavyweight of all time. Now, next guy, number 3. We're talking one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He's a very funny guy. If you follow him on social media, he's always doing funny videos with his wife. He's a great guy. He's a nice guy, and I'm a huge fan. He knocked out somebody else on this list to become the champion on the first ever fight card on Fox, which was a big deal at the time. And of course, I am talking about the one, the only, Junior Dos Santos, okay? He was the UFC heavyweight champion from 2011 to 2012. He only had, sadly, one successful title defense. He retired with a record of 21-9. Of course, he had a good sprawl. He had some jiu-jitsu, but it was the boxing. It was the boxing that really set him apart. And remember, when he knocked out Cain Velasquez, as I said, the first fight on Fox, I think it was like 64 seconds into the fight. Boom, big overhand right. That dropped Cain Velasquez. Down he went. But let's take a look. Why is he in my top 5? Well, he had the longest winning streak in UFC heavyweight history at 9. That's impressive. He had the most knockouts at 10. The most knockdowns, 14. And he beat 5 other UFC champions. Okay, so, you know, decent resume. Notable wins. He had wins over Cain Velasquez, Frank Mir, knockout, Mark Hunt, KO, spinning wheel kick, Derek Lewis, KO, Stipe Miocic, Shane Carwin. Okay, and as I said before, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Really is a class act. So well done, Junior Dos Santos. Okay. Coming in at number 2, this is where we're getting down to the nitty gritty. You're on the edge of your seats. You're biting your fingernails. You're like, ooh, what is Michael going to say? Well, all right, maybe you're not. Maybe I'm being silly there. But still, number 2, Cain Velasquez. Cain Velasquez, if you listen to Daniel Cormier talk, he'll tell you he was one or is the best heavyweight that the UFC has ever seen. Okay, and maybe he would have been, but the problem for Cain Velasquez is just that he was plagued by so many injuries and he had so much time off. But when he was on fire, when he was in shape, when he was injury-free, he really was something else to watch. He had an incredible pace, tremendous wrestling, beautiful boxing. I remember he was early in his UFC career. I had my fight in Australia. I think I fought Vanderlei Silva. And Cain Velasquez was on the fight card and he knocked out Nogueira with a beautiful boxing combination. But listen, let's take a look at some of his resume here. He was a 2-time UFC heavyweight champion, 2010 to 2011, and then from 2012 to 2015. He had 2 successful title defenses and he retired. Well, I don't know if he's fully retired, but his record is 14-3. Now, here's why he's on the list, because as I said before, he is widely regarded as the most skilled heavyweight in UFC history. He has more finishes than any other UFC champion, coming in at 13, and he has an insane control time of his opponents of over 60%. He has notable wins over the likes of Junior Dos Santos, who he beat twice, and those 2 beatdowns of Junior Dos Santos, they were hard to watch. I mean, Dos Santos showed tremendous heart in those fights. It really was a beatdown. Brock Lesnar, of course. My God, did he beat Brock Lesnar up. Antonio Bigfoot Silva, twice. And of course, as I said, Minotauro Nogueira. So one of the best, comes in at number 2 on my list, and you guys all voted as well. So thank you for the interaction with that. But Cain Velasquez, he could have been the greatest of all time, but injuries kind of held him back a little bit. But still, coming in at number 2, not bad. Okay, now we get down to it. The number 1, the baddest man, the best champion, the number 1 person on my list, the best heavyweight UFC champion of all time. I'll just get right to it. He's a fireman. He's a nice guy. He likes to box. His name is Stipe Miocic. Okay? Just incredible, the career that he had and the records that he set. When I say records, I'm talking about the most consecutive title defenses coming in at 3. Okay, it doesn't sound like that much, but hey, nobody else had ever done it. That UFC heavyweight belt was kind of like a hot potato. It was constantly always getting passed around, but he managed to defend the belt on 3 occasions. So, as I say, 3 defenses which broke Randy Couture's record of 2. He had a record 6 wins in UFC heavyweight title fights, which equaled Randy Couture's record. He retired, well not retired, he currently, pardon me, still has a record of 20-4 and the best heavyweight during the best era. You know what I mean? Right now, mixed martial arts, it's at its peak. You know, and the peak is going to continue growing. It's like a volcano. It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, but right now, the level of the athletes competing in the UFC, they're the best they've ever been. You know, and so the heavyweights right now are the best they've ever been, and he was on top of that world until quite recently, until Francis Ngannou took the belt off him. Notable wins for Stipe Miocic, Daniel Cormier, who he beat twice. And by the way, against Daniel Cormier, DC went out there, knocked him out the first round, and he came back from that in his next fight, which is an incredibly hard thing to do. Stepping into the octagon against somebody that's just knocked you out, to fight them again, that's hard. And he made some beautiful adjustments in that fight. Remember, he switched to the body halfway through the fight and eventually got the finish. And then the third one was a decision, but they were fantastic fights. Of course, he beat Francis Ngannou back in the day, a few years ago. Junior Dos Santos, Alistair Overeem, Fabroizio Verdum, Andrei Arlovski, and Mark Hunt. I mean, the resume really is ridiculous. He's got the most title defenses. It seems like an obvious pick. It really does. Now, this weekend, Ngannou and Ciryl Gane, one of those guys, they may go on to defeat his record of 3 consecutive title defenses. Who knows? Maybe we see Stipe Miocic come back and become the champion again. It is possible. Or maybe Ciryl Gane or Francis goes on this crazy tear. Now, I know what you're thinking. Where's Brock Lesnar? Where's DC? Where's all these other great heavyweights? Well, on February 7th, I will be giving you my top 25, because on February 7th, that will be the 25-year anniversary of the UFC bringing in the heavyweight championship. So there you go. Listen, tell me what you think down there in the comments. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Do me a favor, subscribe, ring the bell. And yeah, what do you think of the list? Take care.